But if they're going to do it anywhere, then it was going to be here, and of course it was going to be on Escort. So for Mindfreak, these are the best possible ends to the series, but they definitely need to sort of flip a switch and turn something on, because they have been missing out thus far. It has been all the way of Melbourne Mavericks, who, once again, we see just starting off with that bunker comp. Baptiste again.
Let's see what Mindfreak can do here on attack.
Oh,
looks like we're going to be teleporting.
Don't need to worry about the bunker comp if you're not even going to take shots.
Yeah.
And they're going to wait for the teleporter again here by the looks of things, just to take the higher ground.
This is cool, but it's also can be quite expensive time-wise if you miss out. So the first attack is going to go ahead on the point. They've already lost, well, one. Aki does get picked back up. Little J goes down as well. So the Mavs sitting back, not even on the point. Mini the first one down to try and contest now, along with Gusto.
Yeah, I mean, it's bunker versus bunker right now, and you can see that it's favorable for Melbourne Mavericks. Not only do they have the Bastion, which is going to have a lot more shield bursting ability than what Mindfreak really have available to them, but I think the key factor there was that Nami is still sitting in this position, was able to have a crossfire angle and able to do damage to Mindfreak instead of actually having to do damage to the shield and then do damage to Mindfreak. So he was whittling them down from the beginning. You can see how quickly he's already charged Bob up. Not a great start for Mindfreak. They need to be a little bit smarter with their engages than what we just saw, and they have actually opted to change the composition up. This time they're going to go on to quad DPS.
Yeah, let's see how this plays out. That's the real question I've got, Jordan, particularly now with a couple of ultimates, soon to be 3, soon to be 4 available here for the Mavs. You can see the Immortality build coming out to kick this one off, and Winter firing through the amplification matrix as well. We just know how much damage that can do. Davey, the first one down. Little J, though, to be fair, getting closer, but will get picked up there. Still looking for that 100% ready for the rocket barrage. The rest of the team forced back. 2 minutes down, 2 minutes remain.
It doesn't really look like Melbourne Mavericks is going to have any issues here. So far, we've seen Mindfreak 2 pushes. One with obviously their own bunker comp, and then the second with a DPS composition, and neither really seeming to make much of an inroad into point A. Again, a small change with Aki now going over onto Arna will provide some more healing, potential for some more utility out from the Bionade. Winter actually gets a little bit scared there. I think a rocket just hit him and decides, I'm going to go into tank form. It's not going to be too useful. Mindfreak haven't committed. That means that they can just wait out the tank form. But realistically speaking, tank form is not an entirely scary ultimate of its own. What is scary though now is Addy with this EMP.
Yeah, Addy looking for a big 5 or 6 man EMP here.
That
and Baubles goes down as well. Fluro going to be looking for the resurrection potentially, as Addy is detected and throws out the EMP. Hits 5, that's not bad at all. And Slitzel J manages to find a couple as well. The res should come through. Slitzel picked back up, and Mindfreak should be able to find objective A. It's taken them 3 and a bit minutes here on the clock, but at least they will achieve it, and they'll get to have another go.
Man, as soon as Addy went down to 30 HP, they're just getting smacked by, I think it might have been Winter, sorry, Nami, I should say. Regardless, I sort of thought I could see him getting taken down mid-cast of the EMP, and then it would have all fallen apart for
It was so close.
But look, he's okay in the end. Forble's just going to put his bunker comp up on the roof.
Yep.
And of course, there's Baptiste. Nope, decides to swap onto Arna. I was going to say he can jump up there on his own as Baptiste.
And he's got jumpy boots.
His jumpy boots, as you like to call them. Moon shoes. But regardless, the Arna, that'll do well as well. Just another sort of angle to worry about for Mindfreak. He'll be able to provide good healing because all these guys are within his sightline. If he sits on the bottom of the left staircase, which you can see is where he is right now based on the traces coming out from the Arna. And then Gusto's going to be the one that will be able to get the contest onto the point.
Baubles does find Addy. Swilko will have to decide.
The beauty of this hold for Melbourne Mavericks is, sure, you can get hit by an EMP. You're all close together, but really, it's going to be difficult for Mindfreak to actually follow up on
that's it, right? They'll take them. Sure, everyone's EMP'd, but then how do you kill them? Because you're not up there yourself. So,
I mean, Slitzel J will be able to just fly up, and of course, Blizz can run up the wall climb. Davey can swing up, but it's not as easy as just walking in and shooting. You kind of have to make all these things happen at one time, and that's where errors can start to occur. Speaking of which, Nami going down.
Picked up there by Fluoro. The Dragon Strike comes through. Davey with the pile driver as well, looking for picks. Winter somehow on the ground. That's not where you want to be.
Oh, he's cooked.
Oh dear.
Great combo with the minefield there from Davey. Now it's on to Nami to show what he has got. Playing the high angle here. Doesn't have a bob available.
Yeah, that's not bad. They're looking for the first tick on the point. But as we were saying, no one had actually dealt with the Ash as of yet.
Oh,
Sword comes down and somehow Winter comes through in tank mode. And
hit him
mucks
with
the
mid-air.
fire up.
Or was that in a splash? I don't know. Whatever the case, great shot from Winter, and that actually saves the fight.
Yeah.
How's he hit that? That's magic. Well, 2 minutes and 20 left for Mindfreak here. It's looking like dire straits for them again. They literally threw everything in there. You had the Dragon Strike come across, you had the EMP there. Those are the two big bunker-breaking ultimates outside maybe of Rocket Barrage comboed with the EMP. Nothing seemed to really do anything to Melbourne Mavericks.
Look, to be fair, Mindfreak starting to stack them up again.
Never.
Dragon Strike will be available, and see the Barrage available once again also. So there's a little bit to work with, but they are, of course, running out of time. 1:45 now.
Barrage is such a risk, though, because you have to burst through that Orisa shield and hope that you can survive that long. You know, when you're going up against a Bastion and an Ash.
Well,
You're
then
gonna get
first
deleted.
try and push them off the top with the Dragon Strike. Everyone drops down now. You probably need to follow this one up with a decent barrage. Need to be careful. Supercharger comes through, and Forbles takes out the Farah. Nice little defensive effort there from the Mavs, that is for sure. Fortunately for Mindfreak, Slitzor J did not use the Rocket Barrage. Goes down before that is popped.
Once again, we're going to see 4 balls swapping onto Symmetra, allowing the bunker comp to get back up top, and then probably go back onto Ash. So definitely not picking the Ash for the nano boost. They're using him for the healing. They're using him for the bio nades, the sleep darts. Ash providing quite a lot of utility regardless of whether or not the ultimate is used. I mean, really, in this kind of a composition, you'd look at that and say, who am I really going to ult? Who am I going to get much of effectiveness out?
EMP available, throws it out, hits 3. I'm not sure if that's enough, but Mini goes down, Winter goes down as well. Slitzor J definitely getting value this time around. Addy picked back up there as well. You can see the nano boost onto the Farah for the offensive side, also dealing out a ton of damage. This is some of the best plays we've actually seen from Slitzor here, to be perfectly honest. And it's certainly valuable timing, Jordan. 20 seconds on the clock. Looking for the second tick. There we go, 66%. Fluoro does manage to bring the Farah down, however, but on the point, it's Mindfreak that's had numbers. Melbourne Mavericks going to be coming through with some better spawns, of course. Dragon Strike goes through, finds the D-Mech onto Gusto, but it's definitely difficult to deal with, and now the May is on the point.
Yeah, and they finally force it into overtime as well. 4 balls. He's just going to sit himself in the ice block and stay alive for even a little bit longer. The key part here, though, is that Mindfreak are finding the kills. Slitzor J's just gone absolutely bananas. Gets 4.
Gusto going to go down. The self-destruct will find Davey, but there's
What's
more
Minnie doing
to
up
the
McCree?
point.
What are you hoping for?
I'm not sure.
I wonder if he swapped so that someone else could go into Wrecking Ball while he was dead. Or someone else went on to Wrecking Ball while he was dead and it auto-swapped him over to McCree for some reason. I just don't see why you would pick McCree in a stall situation like that. But nonetheless, obviously, we kind of achieved what we wanted to there for Melbourne Mavericks. That is finishing the map off there with the overtime for Mindfreak. That's the important key factor, right? If Melbourne Mavericks finish this with even 1 second available, they're going to get a second shot, and Mindfreak's not. So really, for Mindfreak here, best case scenario is you draw the map, at which case you're still 2-0 down.
Yeah.
Assuming the cap actually comes across for Melbourne.
Assuming.
Which, to be fair, I think based on the way that
it's
things have
not
been
an
played,
unreasonable assumption, Jordan, at this point. But let's be real, Mindfreak know what they have to do. They've achieved probably what was a par score for them on attack. I think we could probably
I'd say it's par,
agree.
yeah.
So now they need to come in below par.
Well, they need to
for their
force Melbourne
defensive
Mavericks.
side.
I mean, they need to force Melbourne Mavericks to have a pretty shocking attack here.
Need to hit it into the water or something.
Because that's the only way that you win this map.
Yeah.
And stay alive really in the series. Like even if you draw this map, I'm still going to say they're not really alive in the series.
Do you want a bandage for that?
To win, try and
Do you want
claw
a
their way
bandage
back
for that?
in.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. That's the default downline for Batiste, so it's quite obvious that actually hasn't been doing too much customization. Pretty disappointing, to be honest.
Wow, very disappointing. Come on, Aki, you can do better than that, mate. Need the real emotes. Anyway, bunker comp for Mindfreak here.
Oh! Well, he just gets punished.
How many times have we seen players go Widow to swap across, go for the pick, but it never happens?
That is hilarious.
That's the problem with your jumpy boots, Jordan.
Exactly. I mean, that's something that you probably don't consider too much, and then, well, it happens, and now you're like, oh, okay.
What was that?
You just got bursted.
Absolutely destroyed. But Gusto is going to go onto the point and try and get at least some of the capture. Not going to happen. But that was like in the air, throws it up, and what comes down is just a pile of
rubble.
Yeah, robot bits and hamster.
How would you feel, man? That's like literally the worst feeling is when you're playing Wrecking Ball and you just get insta-burst because you're thinking like, how does that even happen?
Gets wrecked.
I have so much HP, I've got so much mobility. I shouldn't be dying like that.
Anyway, that's the first minute down. So, not bad, not bad. They're going to have to do it again. Police are going to be forced onto the point to deal with the Sombra. But Mini goes down. You can see the Immortality Field paying dividends here for Mindfreak, and the heals then coming immediately back up as well. So nice plays from them. That's precisely how you need to be using that Batiste.
I think Winter just had a couple of right clicks in there while the Immortality Field was still up. You saw how low ZeNox was. He was sitting there flicking his shurikens in the back of the Bastion, and it was doing nothing. And then he finally clues onto the fact that, well, it's the Immortality Field that's ruining this for me. And that's exactly why you want to have that Batiste in this kind of a situation, in that kind of a bunker composition, because it can just ruin the attack with one ability.
Certainly can. Mindfreak also sitting on a number of ultimates as well. Potential for them to win this fight. Immortality Field comes out again, but as it goes down, so will they. Winter bringing out the Dragon Blade and finding literally everyone. And when I mean literally, I mean like
2 people.
Most people. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was good enough, that is for sure. A lot of unused ultimates there for Mindfreak. I mean, ZeNox, he was trying to channel the tank form, but got taken down in the middle of it. I went with that Dragon Blade, but a little disappointing for Mindfreak. You know, they would have loved to have used a few more of these ultimates to try and hold on to point A, but 5 minutes and 32 is where we're at here for Melbourne Mavericks.
Could have been worse.
Looks like he wants to get the mech back up.
They could have struggled to hold it, all died in staggered timings, and then been in a difficult spot to hold.
The issue is going to be here, Ben, like even though they've got all these ultimates, if Nami hits a nice EMP, maybe it's irrelevant.
Nami to GG, is that what you're saying?
Could be.
Yeah. They need to be careful, that is for sure. And there's the EMP, hits 3. Won't stop the Bob coming down. The Immortality Field removed. Winter finds a pick onto Davey as well. The Mavs in a pretty good spot right now as Mini with that Primal Rage finds the Bastion. Gusto self-destruct as well. The Supercharger is used, and as soon as it is up, it goes down almost immediately. The Mavs finding the picks they need and getting closer, doing this with a ton of time on the clock. Addy's still on the high ground, as you saw, but will go down as well.
I just don't think that's been clean enough for Melbourne Mavericks. Sure, it was looking great for a moment, but it was actually pretty clutch from Addy, finding a couple of picks from the high ground before he got dealt with by Gusto. So just a little slow on the uptake there, Melbourne Mavericks, in dealing with Addy, and that has given Mindfreak the opportunity to defend there. Was certainly a nice attempt, though, from Melbourne Mavericks. It really looked like it could go their way, even though the EMP only hit 3 players, right, which is not fantastic. They still managed to capitalize on that well enough to make it a competitive fight. Nonetheless, no ticks actually picked up for Melbourne Mavericks. Maybe once we get the EMP up here with the Dragon Blade for Winter, that's going to be the combo that Melbourne Mavericks really need to push on through. But I think once you give Mindfreak time...
Oh, Winter almost goes down, but does manage to get the Dragon Blade out onto ZeNox. And that's a pretty big pick. Bob comes through, as you can hear. Winter still into the backline here of Mindfreak as well. ZeNox should get the respawn back now out in tank form as well, as that is available. Addy on the high ground, freely taking picks with Ash. And Mindfreak doing a reasonable job here of holding once again.
Just a little bit over-eager, it feels like, from Melbourne Mavericks there. If they would have waited another fight out, if they would have taken that one dry, you know, you would have the EMP here, you would have the Dragon Blade, you would have the Nano Boost. Admittedly, Nano Boost is almost back up, but what you really want to see, I think, right now is that combo with the Nano Blade and the EMP. And that is just going to be so devastating for Mindfreak when they're in the bunker composition.
ZeNox going to go down to Mini, and I'm not even sure if he's in a spot that they can get him off from. There's your EMP, Addy quite low, Aki low, Pliss low as well. This is a much better push coming out from the Mavs. They're not going to forget the Ash up on the high ground either this time around, Jordan. There's halfway, looking for 2 from 3. Only a couple of seconds remain here. The sound barrier is popped. One last-ditch attempt to get onto the objective. Pliss will go down. Davey, potential to follow here as well. Swilko, nowhere to be seen. ZeNox doing what he can, but it will not be enough. Winter very effective coming through as well on the Genji, and I think, Jordan, it's only a matter of time this time around.
It is really a case of here for Mindfreak trying to buy themselves as much time in OT as possible. And we get to those time banks, it's like 2 minutes and 22 seconds, I think, for Melbourne Mavericks, the advantage. Well, in fact, actually not even the advantage, it's literally just what they have, because Mindfreak's got nothing. They don't get any time here, they don't get to attack. So we're in that situation now, which I expected was going to be the case, where for Mindfreak, best case scenario is they full hold point A, and they get a draw here, which is still going to mean they're down 2-0.
There are 2 scenarios right now. Mindfreak, full hold, not even 1/3 of point A for 2 minutes and 19 seconds, plus any applicable overtime. If that's the case, then the map's essentially null, and we continue on. Or the Melbourne Mavericks lock themselves in a spot at Kudos Bank Arena. They just need to get 33% of Objective A.
Yeah, and it's looking pretty straightforward for Melbourne Mavericks at this point, isn't it? For all of these players, with the exception of Guzto, it would be their first LAN appearance in Overwatch Contenders.
Yeah.
They've been searching for it for quite a few seasons. You can trace this team back all the way to Serenity. In Season 1, they were pretty bad in Season 1. But they stuck it out, they stuck together, they made some roster changes, they've sort of come through as a really good-looking roster. And now have a team that is the Melbourne Mavericks and a team that's looking to make their first appearance at a LAN Finals.
2 minutes 19 is what they started with. The bunker comp once again, but they're gonna need to be very careful here. They cannot allow even just that one tick to come through. Let's see what the Mavs decide to use. The hack onto ZeNox immediately taken out of Sentry form, and Aki goes down. That's a big pick.
It's a great start.
Yeah, that's precisely what they needed. Winter in amongst it as well. They've lost Davey. And now I think it's only a matter of time. Mini goes down. Forbles finds another. Looking for 33% here on the point. Plus, deleted, removed from that mech, and Baby Diva goes down also. Addy going to be forced to contest, but it's really only a matter of time here, Jordan. Great work from Winter. Finds 2 as well. Congratulations to the Melbourne Mavericks. You have locked yourselves a spot to IEM Sydney into Contenders semi-finals, into the big arena in front of all your family, friends, and fans. And it's going to be a very cool experience for them. It's going to be a tough fight, but
it is.
They've got a little bit of time to work with now. They know who they're going up against. And,
they're going up against Sydney Drop Bears, by the way, for anyone that didn't know. So that's a bit of a tough ask for Melbourne Mavericks, but they finally made it to a season finals. Feels like so long since we've been following the journey of this roster, and when they were picked up as Melbourne Mavericks in Season 3 of 2018, we thought, okay, this is the season. They're looking great. They were able to have good results throughout the season, and then it came to playoffs, and they just got wrecked by Atletico, and it was a little disappointing.
Oh, how the times have changed, Jordan.
But now we're here, and again, it's been that consistency that's been the real benefit, the real asset for Melbourne Mavericks as they make their way now to the season finals for the first time. Guzto's got a big role, I think, in this roster now. Not only, of course, as being one of those players with a bit more experience, I would say, than the majority, but also that LAN experience.
Look at that. Boom. Just see. Oh, man. Poor Hamid. He just like, his corpse falls onto the top of the building.
Yeah.
We just seem to find his form a little bit here as well.
Well, I mean, that's because you get to see him on DPS, right?
Yeah.
You start to notice what these kinds of players can do.
Yeah.
When they're not playing Brigitte, right? Brigitte has a role where you don't notice exactly what kind of plays she's making because they're not as obvious. But when you see a Dragon Blade come out, you see 3 or 4 kills, you say, okay, well, I know exactly what happened there. And I think that's great to see from Winter and also from Nami as well. Both of those two players being able to sort of unleash a little bit with this new patch. Whether that meta is going to persist through to IEM Sydney or whether it's going to take teams a little while to figure things out. And whether Sydney Drop Bears is going to even allow Melbourne Mavericks to play anything like that quite as freely as what Mindfreak did, we don't know. But at least it shows the ability is still there for the two DPS guys to sort of carry the game as they need to.
Yeah, and for Mindfreak, well, this is where their season ends, Jordan, but I can't help but feel, considering that they almost did not make it into the season at all, this result coming 5th, really something to be proud of, a good run through to finals, and honestly, I don't think we could have expected any more from this Mindfreak lineup than what they provided us for Season 1 2019.
I didn't even expect this much, so for me, as far as I'm concerned, Mindfreak have exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, big congrats.
That's always good to see. I mean, they are a team that have made it through the playoffs, so we're going to see them next season regardless. They don't have to go down into trials to try and re-qualify or anything like that. So it's potentially a bright future ahead for this roster. To be able to make 5th in your first season as a core roster, I think that's really, really impressive. So good stuff from Mindfreak in what has been the most competitive season of Overwatch Contenders thus far.
Look,
as well.
Jordan, if I could give out a Macca's player of the game to a team, I would give it to Mindfreak for what we've seen for them this season. So
that's very kind of you.
It is very kind of me, but I can't, so we won't. Anyway, it is actually time for our Macca's player of the game. Our McDonalds Australia play of the game. The Melbourne Mavericks up against Mindfreak here in our quarterfinals. Winter on Genji. We were literally just talking about it, Jordan.
Yeah, I think, again, we're probably going to start to see a little bit more of this. You know, we've become so used to the Reinhardt players of the game and the Diva Bomb players of the game.
Nice Graviton Surge.
Going to go back to Season 1 and Season 2 where we got those players of the game that were, it was literally always Genji. So, you know, for now, it's like it's kind of exciting and cool. So great job, Winter. You got the first one for quite a long time. But in a season's time, we're going to be like, man, I really would love to see something other than a Dragonblade player of the game.
Yeah, everything that was once old is new once more, Elfishguy. But I've been very excited by these changes, and it's cool to see, you know, how things were changing. Even at the end of the season, as people were getting used to the patch and the meta, and now we've changed it up again. Batista's in here, and that changes everything once more. Plus, so many changes. If you go through and look at the patch changes, like Lucio speed nerfs, there's all sorts of stuff coming through. The way the armor works is different. Like, there's tons of stuff. Yeah,
I mean, that Lucio speed nerf is a major factor in why we're not seeing as much goats as previously. Though, if you do have a look toward our Overwatch League, you are still kind of seeing a little bit of goats, which we didn't see out of this matchup. So I will be interested to see what happens in our next game, Ben.
Yes.
As to whether these teams are going to continue to play those DPS kind of oriented styles, which is definitely something that Blank will want to do, or they're going to try and force the goats kind of styles, which is much more what Ground Zero tried to do last season and this season. And that adaptability that comes through with obviously having to change through the patches, I think that again is going to be a real big deficit for Ground Zero and a major asset for Blank.
Well, Jordan, that was 4th seed versus 5th seed, and that was quite a bit of a whitewash, to be honest. Coming up next is 3rd versus 6th. Blank Esports up against Ground Zero Gaming. Our second quarterfinal coming up right after this break.